What is going on, guys? Marcus here with the Reformation Woodshop. Today's video is a special one. It's one that I've wanted to do for a while. A lot of time and effort from a lot of people and myself have gone into the making of the subject of this video. Behind me stands a 10-foot by 16-foot shop that I built from the ground up. In this video, I'm going to show you guys all the things that went into that. I'm going to show you the timeline. I don't have a whole lot of video because I wasn't doing video back then, but I'm going to show you the processes and all of the people and all of the things that went into making this building my dream shop for that time of my life. All right, so are you ready? Are you ready to see the biggest small shop in the world? Let's get in there. All right, so that's the shop. Thank you for coming. We'll see you in the next one. Just kidding, just kidding. There's a lot more going on than that little pass through. In this video, I'm gonna talk to you about what all went into building this shop. I'm gonna show you all the things I'm able to do in this small space and all the things I did so that I could maximize this tiny space. I'm also gonna talk to you guys about the future of the Reformation Woodshop, all the plans I have going forward, and the goals that we hope to reach in the next coming years. All right, now we'll get in there for real. All right, so before I get into everything that goes into the inside of this place, let me first tell you about why I needed this place, what was here before, and how this place came to be. So whenever my wife and I moved onto this property, there was a carport in the back, and the fence surrounded that carport, so we lost a little bit of space from our yard. Even before I was into woodworking, I didn't want that carport space to be there anymore because we didn't have extra cars to park back there, and I would just rather have the yard space. That's just a given. After living here for a little while, I started using that carport to build little rinky-dink end tables and stuff like that. I had a little plastic pop-up table that I used underneath that carport, and I would just knock stuff out, paint it, stain it, and send it on its way. After a while, I went ahead and took all the fence panels down, pushed it all back, put the posts that existed in my yard out on the actual property line, and put the fence panels back up so that my yard was now a square and not a weird isosceles triangle or whatever shape it was before. After I had the fence pushed out, I took down the metal carport and the metal post that held it up. So now we just had a big dirt spot in the middle of our yard. So after YouTubing framing for what seemed like several months because I was terrified of the idea, I started getting materials together and I started from the bottom and built my way up. I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures here, and these pictures are over the course of months because we had no money and I had no experience. So I was gathering materials slowly, and then I would build up and build up and build up until I had my confidence and the whole place was filled. After I got the roof on, the shingles on, the siding on, the windows in, and all that beautiful stuff to keep it watertight, I moved on to the inside. I knew for a fact that I wanted reclaimed walls in some way because I didn't want this just to be a rinky-dink drywalled in or OSB style shop. So for 2 walls, I used all the fence panels that I had left over from pushing the fence back, and I wrapped 2 of the walls with horizontal slats. The 2 other walls that are opposite of the horizontal slats, I used drywall, and that was my first ever opportunity to run drywall. So what I'm saying is don't look too close at the seams, all right? Don't judge me. After the building was aesthetically pleasing and structurally sound and watertight, all that was left was to run power, which we did. We ran 5 outlets to the entire building off the breaker for our house. And my dogs loved it because we dug up the dirt, so it was nice, cool dirt. After all that was said and done, I set up shop inside the building, and that's where we will come back to here and now. So as soon as this place was built, I built these cabinets. Inside the cabinets, I got paper towels, you know, when you're bleeding, which is common. But all of my power tools are just set in here according to kind, what they are. Some of them are set in according to brand because we blew out here, baby. I've got scrap wood up there, stuff that's small that I can pull from. router, all kinds of cool stuff. All of this stuff would have a true home in a shop that was bigger. But because it's not bigger, they have to be stacked on top of each other. I also added the workbench that sits right underneath those cabinets, and that was my official workspace at the time because I did not have a actual workbench. On my bench top, I've got 2 grinders, and they're backwards for some reason. I've got a video covering this saw. It is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me outside of that saw. Anyways, this is the cruiser, so check this out. This, the neck of the saw actually collapses. It folds up like Doc Ock, you know what I'm saying? And it can sit on this short little tabletop. And you know, this kind of sticks out, but move it over. Done. My air compressor's down there. It's got a nice space. It actually runs through the table into the plug, and it's plugged in right now. On the opposite wall, I built another workbench that spanned from this wall to the door, but recently I cut this entire side of the workbench out. I built a cabinet for my bandsaw so that I have all the stuff that belongs to it right here. And I put this drill press right here because I found this for really cheap on Facebook Marketplace and I couldn't pass it up. So, standing drill press had to go right here. Over here, built a disc and belt sander. I got that out of somebody's garage. I got this from Harbor Freight. It is the greatest 1-inch sander that I own. Metal chop saw, doesn't get much use, but when it does, it does. One of the things that I've done to the shop, I have 2 videos over, and that is pimping out the walls with wall control. If you're not familiar with wall control, it is just a metal pegboard system that holds your stuff. It's pretty simple. On this wall, I have a huge station of wall control. I've got several panels of wall control there as well. Most recently though, that I didn't show on my channel is my bandsaw station. My bandsaw station is completely pimped out with white wall control pegboard. It's got all of my machinist squares, my calipers, all the random chisels that I use, all the nice files and stuff that I use to make things perfect. One of my favorite walls in the shop has my clamps on it. It's just clamps, but they're beautiful. Everybody loves clamps. Another way I have chosen to save space and also test fate is I have clamped my C-clamps up to the roof in the rafter, and those bad boys fall all the time, I'm not gonna lie. And I've never been in here when it's happened, so one of these days, somebody come check on me in the shop because I'm probably unconscious. My AccuCut is on the wall because it is large. I also have everything to do with the table saw here. There's a feather board, there's a micro jig gripper right there. This is my crosscut sled for small cuts or for just anything repetitive. There's an angle spline jig there, and that is my push stick that I use religiously because I love it. It is very helpful. In this corner of the shop, I have my stain and paint cabinet. It is exactly what you'd expect. It is full of stain and paint and epoxy and all that good stuff, all kinds of oils, and it is a mess. And it's gonna stay that way, and I don't care. I built this workbench out of 2x4s. The legs are 4x4s. It was exactly what I needed for that time. It has since been dinged up, and I put a plywood top on it, put some bench dogs in it, so now it is super useful and amazing. But as soon as I move on from this shop, this will probably stay here because I don't want it anymore. It is large and bulky and takes up most of the room. I have my scroll saw down here. I don't use it super often, so whenever I do, I'm 100% okay with lifting it up and putting it on top of the table. This is a Delta contractor saw, and it is probably the best thing that has ever happened to this shop. I had a 20-inch scale table saw. It was the worst table saw that exists on the planet. One thing that you'll notice is the clear theme of this video is that anytime that I created profit, I immediately flip that profit into the shop. Anytime that I've ever made a product in this shop, a percentage of it has directly gone into making this place better for me to work. On the outside of the shop, I will show you one of my most liked posts of probably what, like 2018. I built this wood storage on the wall. That's true framing. That's exactly how you do it if you were a contractor. But I run boards across that and it holds them perfectly. It's been 4 years now. I've got a workbench out here that I use sometimes when I'm sanding. I can sand inside, but why not sand outside? Send that sawdust somewhere else outside of where you're breathing and where you're working. This is an old door that we just replaced in our house, and it works perfectly. On the back of the shop, I do hang up yard tools right here. On this side, ladders. One of the ladders is at the flip house, so it is not hung up, but that's what goes there. Having a shop this small has its troubles. Small shop probs. One board goes from end to end of the shop. It don't matter though, because we're gonna make it work, baby. The question is, how do you build a 4-foot by 6-foot kitchen table in here? I run my boards through that window there, across the table saw, if they're anything larger than 6 foot. It's a little ghetto, but I get the job done. Then, whenever I'm assembling everything, I assemble legs in here, and then I put everything outside and I assemble it, I sand it out there, and I stain it out there. That is not what I want. I don't want to be doing that. I want to make sure that everything that I build is stable and is sitting on a flat surface when it's getting finished. I want, at minimum, a 500 square foot shop. Like I said before, everything that we've ever done in my family, my wife and I, has been to further ourselves in some way. Our plan is to flip enough houses to take that money and put a down payment on something that has land where I can put a 1,000 square foot shop. Imagine if I go from 160 square foot where I can't even do a backflip in here. I probably can't do a backflip anywhere, but you get the point. I can't even move around in here to a place where I could pull up a whole fleet of vehicles if I needed to. On top of that, we want a nicer house. We want space for our family to grow. So if you stick around this channel, maybe you'll see some of that. So if you're curious, that's what the future of this channel looks like. You will see remodels, you will see content creation of tables and chairs and all kinds of furniture that I'm going to be doing consistently. You will see tool reviews, you will see everything this year, but I'm hoping that this year or next you will see a dream shop be built that is 10 times the size of this one. I can't wait for what the future holds, and I hope that you will be there with me in that future. All right guys, I could not end this video without thanking all the people that made this place possible. Number one, Britt, thank you so much for helping me push my fence back, and I'm pretty sure you helped me paint and do a lot of other things to this place that I can't remember because my memory is horrible. Also, thanks Ray, because I think you helped me paint as well, and Ray helped me do all the shingles, which was a horrible job, and I think I bought him lunch, but that wasn't enough. That was a horrible day of work, and I hated it, and I'm pretty sure you hated it too, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. Also, thank you to Kenneth, my good friend who helped me run electrical, and also answered every single question I ever had because he's way smarter than I am, and I appreciate that. And also, just as a side note, for getting me into woodworking in the first place. If it wasn't for you, this mess wouldn't have happened. So, appreciate that. I want to thank all the Johnson family, Rachel specifically, for letting her kids come over and be in this dangerous work environment and run the miter saw and do all kinds of crazy things like putting studs up and stuff. Thank you, Russell, for being a part of that as well and making everybody laugh. And last but not least, I need to thank my wife because this place was a work in progress for way longer than it should have been. From start to finish, it probably took me over a year to get this done, and it should not have. But I didn't know what I was doing, and she knew that I didn't know what I was doing, and she supported me anyways, and we got it done together. I love you, babe. You're the greatest. Thank you to all you guys who watch my videos and motivate me to keep going forward. It's been a long time since I've been on this journey of woodworking. It has been a long time now that I've been on this journey of YouTubing. So if you've been there from the beginning of either of those two things, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I pray and I hope that you will be there with me into the next 10 years because I will be here still doing this because I love it and I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next 50 this year. Let's get it. If you have any specific questions about my shop that I didn't answer in this video, or any questions about making money in a space this small, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, or reach out to me on Instagram. I'd love to help you out in any way that I can.